All right, so we want to show how we can use both long division and synthetic division to uh, divide this cubic polynomial by the linear binomial here. So we have x cubed minus 4x squared plus 7x minus 1 divided by x minus 2. And we're going to show how both of these work. So let's start out with long division. So we want to divide x minus 2 into x cubed minus 4x squared plus 7x minus 1. All right, so we're going to assume some prior knowledge that you remember how to do long division with just numbers. And we're going to divide x into x to the third power. So x goes into x to the third power x squared times, right? And I always like to line them up right above their like terms there. And when we do the next step, we'll really be checking our work. So we then multiply x squared to both of the terms in the binomial. Okay, so let's do that. So x squared times x is x to the third power. And x squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. And just like in long division with numbers, so everything's consistent so far, we're going to subtract. So I always like to put parentheses around that to remind all of us that we're subtracting the entire binomial there. We're not just subtracting one of the terms. Easy to make mistakes otherwise. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0. And if you don't get 0 there, then you didn't do this right to start out. And then negative 4x squared minus negative 2x squared is negative 2x squared. All right, and then the next step is it's going to be common. You always bring down the next digit, in this case, the next term. So we'll bring down 7x. And then we're just going to repeat everything we just did. But now we're going to see how many times this x goes into negative 2x squared. So x goes into negative 2x squared negative 2x times. All right, so we'll multiply it back just like we did in the last one. And we'll get negative 2x times x is negative 2x squared. And once again, we have to get the same term there. So when we subtract it, we get 0. It cancels out. Negative 2x times negative 2 is positive 4x. And we'll put parentheses around it and subtract. And we will get 0. And then 7 minus 4 is 3. And as we did before, we'll bring down this negative 1. And we'll see how many times x goes into 3x. So x goes into 3x 3 times. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And now we'll get to see our remainder. So whenever you divide numbers, unless they're a factor of them, you'll have some remainder. So I think we'll see that happens here. So we get 3x minus 3x. Or that, sorry, this should not be here. Three x minus 3x is 0. Negative 1 minus negative 6 is positive 5. So that's actually our remainder. And whenever we write the remainder, we're going to write it as 5 over what you're dividing by, which is x minus 2. So just a little something to consider. We got as our solution x squared minus 2x plus 3 with a remainder of 5 over x minus 2. All right, so let's see if we can make sure we get the same answer using a different method, which is more of a quick procedure. So I always like to, I personally make a nice little box here. And then we want to take what we're dividing by here. We want to figure out what would set that binomial equal to 0. So what value of x would make that equal 0? And the answer is 2. And then we're going to write all of the coefficients of our polynomial, okay, that we're dividing. So the coefficient of x to the third power is 1. The coefficient of x squared is negative 4. The coefficient of 7x is 7. And the constant is negative 1. So we're going to start by bringing down that first 1 right there. All right? And you'll likely notice some similarities here when we do these out. So now we're going to multiply down. So 2 times 1 is 2. Okay. So you kind of almost look at it like a diagonal arrow there. And then you're just going to add. All right. So negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. And then once again, you're going to multiply. All right. So we'll do, bring this up. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Once again, we'll add and bring it down. 7 plus negative 4 is 3. Once again, we will multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 1 plus 6 is 5. So we can then, we see that we have a remainder. Okay, so this last term is always going to be our remainder. And then I like to start from right to left. So if we're going to remainder, and then that means the degree, so degree of 0, and then degree of 1, and a degree of 2. All right, so it's one way to consider it, or as we did earlier on, you always want to consider what your resulting polynomial is going to be, what degree-wise. So we have the coefficient of x squared is 1. The coefficient of x to the first power is negative 2. The constant is 3. And the remainder is 5. And we get the same exact answer using both methods.